Hey, how's it going, everybody? We're just doing like a little quick stream today, nothing too crazy. A couple things right off the top. I don't have a webcam currently. That's why there's a big empty spot in the top right where the webcam usually has been. Since Monochrome Moose, one of your fellow followers and subscribers, is hooking me up with some sweet webcam action and a new mic too. So until I get that, the webcam I have, well, we'll just have to go webcamless, I guess. So that'll be cool. It'll be exciting, and I'll probably bring it up a couple times going forward. Um, what is it here? And I just wanted to point out right off the top too. For those of you that are looking to get notifications for whenever I do the streams, some people are getting more and more interested, which is great. And I don't have an official time when I stream. It's pretty much whenever I feel like it. So if you want to be notified and if it works with you and you want to join in, just head over to my YouTube channel here, and right around here next to the subscribe button, you should see a little, it looks like a bell, and if you click that, it'll give you some options and it'll set up notifications in case you're currently subscribed and you're not getting notifications, okay? So I just wanted to pop that up there. And like I said, we're just going to be doing, I've got 2 pages left here, Jesop King, to finish, and this will be it for today. So I'm expecting about an hour, 2 hours, and we should be done. And that'll be it. And I figured, what the hell, let's stream it. I was going to do this by myself, but let's round out the weekend by doing every day off that we had today, doing some streams, okay? So it'll be kind of fun. Iron, hey, how's it going, buddy? I just wanted to tell you that I start uploading my webcomic on Webtoons. Oh, awesome, buddy. That's super exciting. You got everything all prepared and all that good stuff, or what's the battle plan been so far for you? This is cool. Hearing some of you guys doing Webtoons and stuff like that as well. It's cool. It's exciting. It's a story I've been working on for a while. I'll be uploading the pages as I finish them for now. Right on, buddy. Well, congratulations. Do you have anything posted so far, or is it? Sorry, yeah, you're saying. Oh, you're starting this week. Okay, right on. That's cool, buddy. Keep reminding me too as we stream every now and then. That way I can share it while we're streaming and stuff. And who knows, maybe get some more viewers onto your comic and all that. Did you format it, or are you formatting it for Webtoons, or are you kind of doing like what I'm doing here, where it's like just a page update as opposed to like the Webtoons, sort of model, as I like to call it? Hey, Batfan. Yeah, oh, I'm streaming at a weird time today too. Or at least it feels like a weird time. Sundays are usually pretty odd. It's a lot of like visiting family and stuff like that. Most of the time, and I often don't really do that much work on Sunday. But I wasn't able to finish up these pages here yesterday, and they have to get done, or else I'm gonna start being behind. And we don't want that. So hit the old stream button. Have some fun. Okay, right on, buddy. So I'll just pick your brain a bit if you don't mind. So, are you working on any buffer or anything like that, or are you just going right in 100%? If you run out of days or content or something, you're not stressing about it too much? Or do you have a buffer just in case? Or is that something you even consider? Do you care about it? Hey, John, how's it going, buddy? Not much, my man. We're just working on some more Jesop King here, and that's pretty much it. Should be streaming. We might not be streaming tomorrow. You know what? I'm not going to say if I am or not. I think yesterday I said I wasn't streaming today, but obviously that's a lie. Hey, Troy. Hey, Giga. How's it going, guys? Hey, Batfan. How's it going, buddy? So, calling a Manga Studio versus Photoshop. Do you feel that the tools are on par, or does it still have that slight edge? I'd say it's on par for sure, depending what it is you want to do. The Mega Studio finally has all the blending modes. I believe that Photoshop did, because there's a time where I think it stopped like around here. And added all these extra ones. That definitely helps. Photoshop still does some things a little different than Manga Studio, which is great. You know, it's good to have. I don't think I ever want Clip Studio to be just like Photoshop. That way there's some diversity going on there. Because if that's the case, then it's just for a lot of people it's probably really good. Having a cheap Photoshop. But that's what I want this to be. I'm glad they're catching up, I guess, with Photoshop with some of these things. But I'm more excited about what they can do to differentiate themselves to help illustration and comics. I feel like Photoshop, a lot of professionals, because it's been around so long, and hobby artists and stuff, we use Photoshop because that's what we're used to. If you want to make digital art, Uh, and then Manga Studio came around, got a little popular. It's gotten a lot more popular now. Still has a long way to go for sure. There's people that haven't even heard of it. Um, and I can understand wanting to convert the Photoshop base to bring into to get them to convert over here. But to answer your question directly, yeah, I think it's definitely on par. Again, depends what it is that you're looking to do. If you're just looking to color comics, I mean, comics generally aren't colored too crazy. As long as you have you can do what I'm doing with like cell shading, or you can do the cut technique, with the lasso tool, and then airbrush it. Kind of gives it like that gradient look. You can do that in here too. It's more like the special effects, I guess. And now that they've got the blending modes, it's definitely getting better, giving you more options, and that's always great. Have you strictly moved to Manga Studio for everything? I would say 98% of my workflow is in here. Photo editing, if I wanted to make, let's put it this way, if I wanted to make like graphics or design style stuff, like logos and things like that, I'll go into Photoshop. Because I think that's Photoshop's like made for that. Comic creation is 98, 99% Clip Studio. The only reason I go into Photoshop for anything now is the path tools when I make backgrounds. You guys know how I stroke a path for building faces like windows and things. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me know and I'll give you a little example. But if Clip Studio is able to get the path tool in here that's similar from Photoshop, then there'd be no reason for me to go to Photoshop personally. But it was a little bit of a process. You guys know if you've been if you've been if you guys have been brothers and sisters with me here for a while, when I first started going into digital, it was all Photoshop, and that's just because I don't even think Mega Studio was really around. I don't know, like Mega Studio 4 was around, but I forget how people started hearing about that. Any of you guys remember that? And it was just the way that it made inking was really cool. That's usually one of the critiques you always hear people saying about Photoshop. Is it can't get the right brush or something like that. And yeah, I started to use it a little bit more at my day job as well. Whenever there's like illustration or something, I'll usually go in there to do stuff. Depends what I'm doing. At work, a lot of the lines that I do, I can just do with the pen tool or something. It's not like I don't draw like I'm doing right now a lot at work, so Photoshop's still fine. Well, for the time being, I don't want to stress about it, so I'm basically just illustrating what I have already written. That way I can right on, buddy. Okay, cool. I was just picking your brain, like I was saying, because it's interesting. I like hearing other people that are, especially in your case where you're very similar to me. You'll actually beat me to the punch, which is great, because then I get to ask even more questions. People are making their own web comics and stuff, and especially again, like I was trying to say, of you're going to be posting it, so I get to ask you questions. You're going to have more experience and stuff, right? So it's interesting just hearing people's experience doing stuff like that. Hey Troy, yeah, so the webcam that I normally use, uh, I don't know where it is. I rebought a new one or not a rebought, but I bought a new one. That's one that we've been using for the last little while now. But Monochrome Moose is hooking me up with some new stuff, which I'm very grateful for. And so today I just went and I returned that webcam before it's too late. So until it shows up, I'm not sure. I can't check the tracking. I'm not sure. Could be a week, could be 2 weeks, could show up Monday. I don't know. We'll see. Not a big deal. We got through without having a webcam, and nobody really needs to see my face. You guys don't want to see that. Hey, confidential. That's sweet, man. Thanks for saying that. What was that question, sir? Are you going to introduce your spectacular six in Jesop King? You know what? I never even thought about that. Maybe I will. I forget who it was. I think Darren Nimrod that goes in the chat from time to time. That's what he was sort of talking about because I'm grateful that you guys are interested in anything that I'm doing. I think that's really cool. And some of you guys are more interested in other projects besides what I'm doing right now, and you probably prefer me to be doing those like Castle Dracula or was it the Spectacular Six or it feels like that was like that Western movie or something. But what that was a little love letter comic to like Power Rangers and that sort of stuff. Really loved Power Rangers when I was growing up, and I wanted to do like a little kind of chibi style, cute, sort of like a little fun little comic or whatever. But as all of the projects that I have, the way they always end up going is they either never get done or something new comes along. And that's what Jesop King's doing right now. So Nimrod was suggesting, the first time I heard it, was why don't you just start like putting all those characters into this? So all the characters from like Castle Dracula into here and all that. There's the only reason I'm kind of hesitant on that is because I do want to have at one point I would love to go and I'm going to go and make those comics. It's just not happening right away. So I feel like if I draw them, in these comics, then it's not. It's almost like I've already drawn them and they're in this story, but then I can't go back and tell their own thing. I know it's a weird thing; it doesn't make sense. However, the little Power Ranger characters, I think they might actually fit in something like this, as maybe even bad guys or something too. I think that might be pretty cool. Hey Shane, how's it going, man? Alpha Proto, you got in Manga Studio years ago because of the price. Yeah, it's very well priced. I use Manga Studio for on clean lines. Yeah, a lot of people do that. They'll stick with Photoshop for coloring and all that, and they just do like the actual artwork in Manga Studio, which works too. Exactly. Man. Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying. Okay, see you, Shane. Yeah, basically different stories, different projects. Yeah, so I'll show you here. Let me just pause the time here. I'm going like I love to answer you guys' questions. I'm gonna try my hardest to just focus and just blast through this stuff because there's a couple like there's a lot of things like this where it's so much little shadow work that it's taking a lot of time. I don't want to spend too much time tonight on this. If I can get like an hour a page, that'd be perfect. Anyway, so let me just go through. I'll show you some of the projects that we were talking about here. Um, Comics, personal. All right, we can go through all this stuff for a second here. See what we get. I don't even know what's in here. I remember this. Check this out. You guys might dig this. So this was back in 2011. Have you guys heard of a 24-hour comic book day? I'd never heard of it, and when I did, I was like, this sounds like an awesome opportunity to make a comic book. I didn't finish it. I learned a lot about comics, and I use it as also another way to try to learn Manga Studio 4 when that was out. Okay, so it hit a bunch of topics or whatever. Anyway, I don't get it. We'll just go through some of the pages. Now, the art style, obviously, I'm a better artist now. I mean, this was 6 years ago, but at the same time, I was still learning digital and Manga Studio. And it's 24-hour comic book day, right? So you got to write, go all the way to everything, letter it, and all that cool stuff in 24 hours. So some of these pages have to be drawn in like 15, 20 minutes kind of thing, right? So you're going to see a lot of black and white, like just a lot of messy artwork. This is all like out of context, so it's hard to. I remember this one. Someone's a lightning bolt, blows up a boat. I think the premise of this story was there's like these evil beings that have taken over the world or whatever, and this one kid stands up and sort of like this Gandalf figure comes along and says like, the reason you stand up is because you have hero's blood in you. You've got the bloodline of other people that have stood up against oppression, and you're starting to awaken. So when he puts his hand on his face, he sort of starts going through all the previous lives and the not his life, but like his father's father's life and his father's 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 wife's life and people along his line that did something. So it sparks that little courage inside of him to actually be the one to do something about it. What else we got in here? All ages. Some of this stuff I don't even think I've ever shown you guys. I'm not sure. Let's see what this is. I know there's one that's gonna make a Canadian superhero comic. Yeah, and this is kind of like a Power Rangers-esque stuff too. So there'd be 4 superheroes based off the Canada Goose, the Gear Falcon, the Great Horned Owl, and the Blue Jay. Yeah, these. Yeah, so you can see it's like Power Ranger kind of stuff. If we go to the dates, we're on even these. These are when? 2010. Interesting. These are all Photoshop. I won't open all that stuff. Um. Yeah, you guys may have seen this. This is when I was looking into the webtoon stuff. Do you guys remember that? Nothing. I never made any comics or anything about this, but this was a Bit Boy. The whole thing was going to be like just like a little campy little kid thing, but drawn and illustrated to look like a Game Boy graphic sort of thing. Black Metal. Yeah, I haven't looked at any of this stuff. Black Tower was another one that was going to be cool. This one was based off of Castle Dracula as well, except it followed a female hero named Brea. And it was just a short story of her going in. You know, these are all things that I'll eventually get back to. This is like after also my love for like Berserk. So it's like the comic would have been along the lines of like Berserk, or will be Berserk and Castlevania. You know, so that's cool stuff there. That was just like a short story of a character that kind of runs in there. Yeah, okay, so here you go. Here's some more of this Canadian superhero stuff. Look how old this stuff is, guys. Like 2010. Oh, look at this. Love it. Old school art. Look at this. With pencil crayons too to make it look like I really don't know how to draw. Here we go. Ugh, what a boring design. Yeah, and then there's the Canadian. So good. All right, let's close all that. What else we got? Yeah, so we got obviously Castle Dracula. I think there's just a couple things in here. You guys already saw those, yeah. Black Tower. Yeah, there's more Brea concepts. Let's take a look through here. This is all still vampires. Yeah, still like that drawing. It's pretty good. This is along the lines. It's funny. Jesop King's more along this line now too. So we're kind of going with the painted stuff. Dracula. I always liked how this one kind of turned out too. I was playing around with textures and stuff. Comic would never look like this, but there's a time in the version that I had written down where it's sort of like you go back in time, not back in time, but they show like different versions of Dracula that you're used to, like this kind of thing, and this is more of like I guess the Vlad the Impaler version, you know. Um, and then this was a twist that would be in the story, or whatever. And this guy bringing you that which you asked of us, the head of Dracula. So this guy looks like how Dracula would end up being, but he's actually not Dracula. He kills Dracula, and then I don't know if it's the life essence or the blood, or you know how this stuff goes. Gets possessed by the demon Dracula kind of thing and becomes that sort of stuff. But he's like a big, I guess more along the lines of like the Vlad the Impaler sort of stuff. Yeah, these are still designs that, like, I don't like the way he looks here. It looks too weak. And this was the main character's, what's it called? Sidekick, Finian, I think that was his name. Yeah, he's a blind knife thrower. I've got videos on this stuff that we did a whole bunch of this stuff. Gildus. Yeah, I think that was the name we ended up going with him, right? Not Pierre. Yeah, Pierre was garbage. Gildus. That's a way better name. Yeah, here we were playing around with screen tones instead of doing the grayscale. I think this was Gildus's dad, if I remember correct. Just some old style tests. It's like Belmont. Yeah, I like the way this one turned out too. This one was fun. Surrounded by my flame, and I wonder, is this how your brothers fell, young slayer of death? Ooh, dramatic. I think there's actually. Give me a second. There might be something else. This is starting to get into something that was cool. Fan art? No. Mini comic? Balefire. Yeah, here we go. The joy of hearing them burn alive. All of them. This guy's name's Balefire. He was one of those guys that's like the in-between dude, where he doesn't care if Dracula wins or loses. He's like that instigator that he just likes to see chaos. So they go to this guy for information on that. You guys, there's a video I did of this one too, where it's a SketchUp model of a church, and then we beat the shit out of it. And this is where they, Gildas is down here. I don't know if you can see him. Is this one colored? Yeah, here we go. You can see him a little bit better here. So Gildas is here. This was just to play around with stuff, because the first comic was just around this whole area. And back here they had to kind of summon Balefire to show up. And then Dracula's minions would kind of show up and all this stuff. Fun stuff. Fun stuff. I will say this too, okay? Before we get back into Jesop King. And I still believe this too, guys. This is for you. If you're like me, and 1,000 other Canadians, consider buying home insurance. What I recommend doing is, if you have an idea of a comic book that you want to make, give yourself a timeline that you can actually work in, but that's not too long. Let's say, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, and for that whole month, just do production artwork. Just do concept art, story ideas, plots. Just fall in love with the creation. And this is where concept art comes in big time. Just fall in love with the creation of that world and that environment, and then put it away. And maybe do another one or something. But the reason why I found that it works for me is when I was doing that, you could get that project and then maybe something else would pop up and you do that. And then eventually there's one or two that are kind of yeah, I want to work on this. So I can come back now and look at all these concepts that we've kind of done and go, I understand where I was at those points. And you can go in there and as opposed to what I was originally doing, which was just starting an idea and doing all that concept stuff, then eventually make a comic and go. Sometimes just putting up that grunt work, and I learned this in the video game place that I work, just reading up on I guess video game creation and stuff. It's not comic book stuff, but with concept art, a lot of concept artists for companies, they'll get a week or two or sometimes a month to just go, okay, we get the design specs for the concept of the video game that we want to make or a movie, and we just start hammering out concepts for the vision of the book or the story or the game or the movie, right? And then you take those and you put them all on the wall, you make a little portfolio piece, and you give it to people that would produce it, like a director and stuff like that, and you pitch those ideas to them. So the idea is you just grind through a whole bunch of concepts and stuff of what you think it could be, what it might look like, and then you pitch it to yourself as the creator and go, I do like it, there's something here. Or you kind of go maybe there isn't something here. And just by taking that little bit of work in the beginning, I don't know, it works for me. I thought it was pretty cool. Okay, so that 24-hour comic book day, here we go. I enjoyed the story so much, I wanted to make it into an actual thing called Drudge. In darkness, hope comes from within. And it was just changing the way the art looked. You can see it's a little bit more polished, a little bit more cute or whatever, but it didn't have to be this way, Cool stuff. What else we got here? Enter Void. Yeah, I've told you guys about Enter Void before. This is where you make your own character, and you fight other characters. That was fun. That's my guy, Phoenix. Fantasy, what do we got in here? Oh yeah, the Thundermanes. Remember this stuff? Stupid shit. Okay, so I used to do all these things too. This is just for me. I do weapons or a character, and then I put this big paragraph under there just to sort of get I don't know, story development kind of going on there, and just try to be dramatic with it. So, when the stone descended from the heavens, it split the clouds open. The Thundermanes forged the stone into a mighty weapon, able to control the lightning and the thunder. They called it Thunderbreaker. As defilers invaded, the sound Thunderbreaker made as it crushed their backs bellowed throughout the mountains, summoning lightning from the weapon to strike down foes in great numbers. They called it Thunderbreaker. Ooh, Thunderbreaker. The drama. Goblin. Oh, and this one here, I don't. Yeah, this one. Yeah, that doesn't matter about that one. God Slayer is another one I would love to do. I've had an idea for this for a super long time. I still love the logo. I think it's cool. It's got some funness to it. Uh, yeah, so this guy's got like this big, kind of cancerous, infected arm. And I believe he has to go through and kill all these gods in order to save the soul of his dead wife, or girlfriend, or boyfriend. I don't know. But look, this is when, yeah, you can see 2012. This is when I was starting to fiddle around with Manga Studio 4 more. Like, how much fine rendering could we do, you know? And you can see, like, yeah, so Godslayer, like, the text looks way better when it's red. Makes it look more like it's smeared blood. Really cool stuff. Um, I know I have more in there. Oh, here we go. There we go. I knew there was more Godslayer artwork. Yeah, so here, there's videos on this too. This is when he's like kind of like in hell. Like this whole idea is pretty much a mix of like God of War, Shadow of the Colossus, um, and a Greek god story I heard, and I forget what it is, but this is when he had to go make a deal with the devil or some demon in order to get the power to kill a god, which is in his arm that slowly kills him. But he has to fight his way back out of the underworld or death or hell. And these little spires, you can't really tell in the high-res version. I went online, and this is called photo bashing. You can't really tell because it's not very good, but these are like strands of, they look like meat and muscle and stuff, and there's all these things and all this gross kind of stuff. And this is where, I don't know if you can tell, but there's a demon here on the right. You can see his eyes, and this will be his mouth, and he's pointing. This is when he's like, you have to plunge your arm into like the magma in order to like make the deal, make the pact with the devil, you know? This was cool. I can't wait to, like, again, one day I'll get to all this stuff. I have to because it's so fun. I just want to see it made. But these are some of the gods that he ends up having to kill. They're the twins, and in this place you can see, I don't know, maybe you can't. All up in here there's people being hung, and they get like their stomach sliced. It's obviously a very mature, that kind of thing. Dante's Inferno. That's it. Thank you. So in here they get their gut sliced so they bleed or whatever, and you can see there's like blood all going down the steps. But all down here, I don't know if it's kind of hard to see, but there's just a whole bunch of people with flags, and then you get the spears of the armies and stuff like that. They're all over there. But these big twin gods, they show up, and what they do is they eat the bodies, but it's not the act of eating a body that is why they're showing up. They do that, but it consumes the fear that just this act brings, and that's what the people don't understand. And I mean, that's like the added flavor. But in the end of the day, it's the main character has to kill these two things, and he's just like a regular guy with like some super powered kick-ass arm kind of thing, right? And here he is. He gets chained to a tree, and he has to fight like this snake kind of god, or whatever the hell this thing is. You can see he's got like his tail up here, and again, it's all like meat textures and stuff. Just gross. Hey, Alec, yeah, you're right. No, absolutely, yeah. Dude, I remember talking about this before a lot of things, right? And this, I was trying to redesign the main character. I forget how far we made with this guy. And it's funny, I remember making these textures with an actual brush and then scanning it in. That was fun. Yeah, okay, here we go. Now we're starting to make the character, give him some scars and stuff like that. So this is 2014, I guess. This was the original look, 2012. Look at that. Man bun before it was popular, guys. Before it was popular. Alright, let's keep going. What else we got in here? This is just for you guys, because you guys were asking about it. It's kind of fun. Guildborn. This one's a fantasy story that someday maybe I'll get to. Who knows? You know how these go. Just trying to change the style. You guys remember this. This is actually pretty recent, last year. End of last year. Gommel. It's pretty much just about like dwarves and just fantasy. High fantasy kind of stuff. Well, that was loud as balls. Let's turn that down. I know I have other... What do we got here? Characters. Andulil. Yeah, a lot of these, they're all... Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we got Godslayer, Guildborn. Ice Barbarians was another one. Jesop King. What is this? Meat and potatoes. Oh, okay. So a buddy of mine, we were going to make just like a little web comic in the vein of once we started seeing what's it called? Oh man. Steve Lichtman and stuff like that. But the heavy fantasy version of that kind of thing. So it's about these two adventurers that they're the worst. They're not good at all, but they have to keep going on adventures to do stuff, and they sort of like fumble their way through like getting to the end, as opposed to being like the big warriors that kill the dragon. It's one of those things where like they would make a deal with the dragon, saying like, we actually there's no way we could beat you. We just really want to like move out of our house. So like somebody's paying us to get an egg. Uh, is there a way you can give us like an unfertilized egg and we can bring that back and say that we killed you, and that gives us guild points so that we can start to make some income so we can move out because our dad's just an absolute asshole. So they start doing that kind of thing, and then along the lines, and somebody would, let's say, stumble along the way and accidentally actually somehow kill the dragon, and just dumb stuff. So here was like the first story. They were fighting something called an ember snag, and the idea I wanted to go with that was, it's like, do you guys know like angler fish? Where it's like you get like these fish here and they have like the little light on their head and they move it around like a lure in deep sea things, and then it's just a horror of the sea, man. Like just absolutely scary. So what it is it's like this cute little thing like this, but that's like the angler part, and it's like this giant monster sort of thing. So you can't really see it. Isn't it in this one? Yeah, here you go. So like you would see these guys. I don't know if this come through. So they're kind of waving to it. It looks cute. You can't really see it, but it would look along the lines like that. And once they see exactly what's going on, like this big, massive thing in the background kind of thing. The Butcher King, yeah, there's that as well. There's too many ideas, man. Too many things. I'm just glad Jesop King's going because it's actually moving along, right? So that's cool. Mighty Mustache. This is fun. I always feel like we go through this stuff at some point. Mighty Mustache was like the original Jesop King. It's nowhere even close to the same anymore, but this had different reasons. Big old muscle character superhero. I won't get into the details of that. What do we got here? Mini comics. Okay, there's a whole bunch of other ideas in there. Now this one I am super excited to one day get to. Neon Olympia. It's pretty much just like, think of Blade Runner, I guess, and Terminator, themed with Greek mythology in a lot of ways. There's got to be something here. Let me open this up because there's one I had. Yeah, okay, here we go. Let's see. I was trying to draw this guy. He's like on a bike. Yeah, this dude. I forget who this guy was. I don't even think I named him. A lot of leather jackets, spikes, sunglasses, 80s action movies sort of feeling. Neon Olympia. What else we got? Pigs. I don't know what the hell this is. Butcher King. Here we go. I don't know why Butcher King's in here. King Butcher. What is all this stuff? Oh, yeah, you guys remember this. Darren remembers this. That's like Pig Warriors? I don't know. Prisoner? What is that? Okay. Questborn. Scorpion. Yeah, I remember this. This was. Do you guys remember Kamik? I was talking to you guys about that before. Again, it's more like a double dragon 80s action adventure kind of thing. Do I have a cover? Yeah. Then we got a color version too. That Comic was an app. I don't even know if it's around. I haven't checked, but it's for your phone. Spectacular Z. That was the name. That's what we're. That's what we're looking at. So these characters here, yeah, maybe we put these in Jesop King. This is like the Power Ranger sort of thing. So Spectacular Blue, and I think we only did two, didn't we? Spectacular Red, but I changed them to black. Yeah, just these two guys. But Spectacular Z, that was the name of those dudes. And this is yet another one that I can't wait to get to one day, someday, maybe never, which is Squirrel God. It's like a black janitor at a school. Somehow, I don't know, eats an acorn and becomes Squirrel God. There's all these like weird monsters and stuff. with lame poetry to go to go with everything here. Let's read some poetry. God, we'll go over some of the, there's some pictures in there. It's not. I don't know if it's whatever. She dances. Oh, watch as she dances. Ever sight and foresight. Grain of sand and sand of death. Whispers and misgivings. Thought weaver and sight giver. Mistress of futures and mistress of lore. Watch as she dances. The oracle of sands. Watch as she dances. It's the old hymn of squirrels. So there's like this big lady, and this is like the size of us with like a little cart. And I forget her exact story. She's just like the creator of sandstorms in the desert and stuff like that. And I forget why the main character has to go see her. And then there's this dude, Death. I am the king of the 9 suns, reborn from the phoenix's womb. I know death. With flame of halo, gauntlet of terrors, and blade of 9 kings, I know death. Ripped and mauled, murders and tyranny, come young god of squirrels, I am death. And he's got the sickest name, Pritigust, or Pritigust, Lord of the 9th blade, the Sun Slayer. So dramatic and over the top. Jesus Christ. And then you get some cool stuff. I remember this. I always liked that shot. That was kind of fun. Yeah, and he'd fly around on like this hover. It's like a hoverboard, but it's like a magical acorn. Kind of think of like Dragon Ball with the Nimbus. That would be his little thing. He'd summon it and fly around. Where was this underground place? I saw it. Yeah. So it's like this hand of a god or whatever, because everything's got to be a god. And you get all these people walking up these pillars, the pillars of fingers, and they go all the way up and they try to ascend up to his face to have an audience with him. All right. What else we got? What else we got? Getting to the bottom. Starborn. I remember this. I don't think there's anything in there. Star Lord. Nope, not there. Starboy. You guys remember this one? There's a video we did to this together. This little guy here. It's like Astro Boy kind of stuff. The Decapitator. Yeah. Okay. So. I had an idea. This was back when we were doing the standard, okay? I wanted to do something with John Lee's again, except instead of him writing and I draw, I was going to write and have him draw the comic. And, he just collected heads and hung them on little hooks on his belt. And then I was going to color it. This is obviously, learning how to color better, but this is going to be a fun little thing. The Decapitator. What else we got here? Thrash. Yeah, I remember that idea. There's nothing in there, though. Webcomics. Personal webcomic ideas. Let's take a look at all this stuff. Here's some Final Fantasy with the font. Anyway, that's enough of that. You guys, I hope we had a little fun going down memory lane there. Let me just turn all this back on here and save that back. Let's get back to, let's do some more work. I'm slacking off. Okay, timer. Get that going back again. Where do we go off? Right. Okay, what I wanted to do was also just put like a little light behind these characters, because I feel like there's a lot of brown and gray going on here. Like if we put the tone, you see how like the goblins in the background, they're kind of like the same tone. Whereas like this guy has like the white background, so he pops. It's very easy to see him. When you move over even to something like this, there's a lot that gets muddled. So what I want to do is, let's find our background layer. This guy, I think it's that one. So we're going to make a new layer. Color. And maybe what we'll do is, let's pull like some of this blue. I'm just going to fill it. We're not going to go like that, but if we lower the opacity just a bit, maybe bring it to like an overlay, maybe a screen. Which one we want? Screen? Yeah, we want a screen. Maybe. You see what's happening here? Like I know that's not at all what I want, but I'm trying to separate them a bit. I might try one other thing. Use that like white halo that you can kind of put around things to make them. Maybe we go even darker, possibly. Let's go through all this stuff here. Alright, well, let's try. Okay, well, we have them all in their own layer, right? So if we click that layer, let's see if we can do this. I don't know how well this will work. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. That's gross. Alright, let's try up here. I don't know what color we would use. Let's try like this cream color. Because the thing is, whatever we get to work here, we have to use it pretty much for the rest of the page and the next page. Because you can't have like this kind of effect if I keep it and only have it show up like once. It's not good. Maybe this will work. I don't know. Yeah, so this is the thing. I appreciate that, Troy. Troy's saying I could put rim lights on them and stuff. The reason why I don't put any kind of highlights on anybody in this comic is a couple reasons. Primarily being, I want this to go along quick, and the other one being, if I add highlights, then it feels like everything should have a highlight on it, or at least everything should be drawn in a way that looks a little bit more realistic. So when all I have is like a flat and a shadow color, do you see like now they pop a little bit better? I'm not sold on it just yet, but at least when you have something around this kind of thing, I don't know. Like I don't like putting halos around guys, but sometimes I don't know. Maybe it does work, or maybe it's a little bit appropriate. I don't know. Let me just brighten it up just a bit here so I can see what's going on. The only spot that I know I have like a rim light on for sure is the Pagargo, which is that big monster. He's got like those mucus sacs on his back. We'll see him in a sec here. The other solution to this, honestly, is to just change the background color. To change these rocks to something other than brown. So we'll just test this out, see if it rubs us the right way or whatever. Hey, no problem, man. Thanks, Kiki. Key guy. How about brighten their skin tone? Yeah, see, so we're getting on the same page there. Of the, well, what if we just change the color? Like their skin tone. The reason why I don't want to change their skin tone is I'd have to go back and change it to the previous pages. So that's why I was saying the background, because that's only a few pages. But I'm glad you're bringing that up, because that's I'm on the same page with you on that. So the only other thing is now, like once I start doing that, see, like it pops a lot. Like you can see them now. Look at this. Like watch these guys in this panel on the far left, right? If I turn this off, they blend. But if I turn that back on, they pop right away, right? Because it's a lot more illustration kind of thing. The problem that starts happening is like, okay, well now this has, or maybe doesn't have to, but maybe this starts becoming a thing on everything, you know? Because now I have to go in and add it even to Jesop here, because it looks weird if I don't. If just they are and not him, especially when one's in front of him. So if we go like that, we'll also have to go back here and add it to Jesop as well. Hey Sean, how's it going, man? All right, I don't mind it, but I don't know. What if this is above that? That looks way better, but we just stick with that. Now this is where it gets tricky. So like, how much of this do I do that to? Let's try it. If it doesn't work, right? Can always go back. See there, I don't. Maybe we don't need it there on this one. Let's erase this one. Because once we get some shadow in there, it might be alright. I think it's just like this kind of stuff where it might get a little too busy. Alright. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do what I should have did before. I'm going to change the color of the rocks. Because what I'm doing is I'm changing the style. It's still, there's no reason for it. I'm being lazy. I'm trying to find a solution to something that I can fix. And the only reason I don't want to go back and fix it is because I have to go back to previous pages to fix it. But let's suck it up. I'm going to start with this one because this one's the most complicated one. Sorry. What are you saying? Ben, no, I haven't made any headway on any anime yet, sadly. Kevin, I was escaping your art where, I don't know, ads breathing down there. I hear you. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate that. Hey, Tantic Pirate, welcome back. Yep, undecided faux show. Okay, so let's get some tone work in here. Let's worry about panel 1. All right, so panel 1. Let's go darker. Hit OK. Just so I can see what the hell. So they pop a bit better. That's good. Might be a little too saturated though, so let's bring that down. Okay, and then we're gonna have like these. No, not those. Where do we got the rocks? So if we're going with that color, we can go a little lighter. Just how does that look over there? Alright, let's just roll with it for now, just to see how this keeps going. Alright, so panel 2, let's get our rocks. And we'll go with this color. With the shadow, yeah. Alright, so let's see how I don't, you know what? still matches. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're going to just start changing some of these colors up because they ain't working. So let's go into some red. Oh, red rock. I don't know about that. Let's go into here. Let's see how this looks. All right. That pops a lot better. How's that look? Tone's the same. Okay, so we'll have that, and maybe the highlights. We'll just bring the saturation down, and we will go here. Is that right? Jesus, that's a big difference. That reads a bit better. Batfan. Sounded like I said butt fan. Sorry about that. Batfan is asking, cool look at some of your other projects. Is Jesop King the oldest idea you've had, or why is Jesop King the one you said to go with for now? It's not the oldest one I had. It's the one that I had interest in it when I first started learning about space and having an interest in learning about space. I wanted a character that I could do to just tell stories in space, not necessarily pure sci-fi, more science fantasy like Star Wars as opposed to Star Trek. If you get what I'm saying there, so that's the reason I went down that road. But sadly, the way that my brain works, I could never commit to a decision. And when I would start to, because of my inexperience as a writer, I would write myself into plot holes that I couldn't understand, and I would try to figure out solutions, and I just couldn't get there. So I never jumped on it. And for me, the way to fix that was to just, you know what, don't even worry about it and just do a different project. Because in my mind, what was happening was that I was just getting I was too stuck. I couldn't figure it out. So that meant that there was a problem with the story, not anything else. So I would try to write other things, and same thing would happen. And it probably took, I don't know what, like a good year for me to just realize, or maybe half a year, 6 to 8 months, where I was just like, the problem isn't the stories or my inability to write, it's that I'm putting too much pressure on them. I'm trying to I'm trying to make sure that no matter what decision I picked, that it would have less risk, which is smart but stupid at the same time because that's still saying like, well, if you keep doing what you're doing, how can you know what's going to work and what's not going to work? And everything you do, it's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. We play it all the time. And I'm happy for it. And it just took. Sometimes it takes a little longer for some of us, myself, will say, to understand exactly what in the hell somebody's saying when they're saying things. But it's that don't be afraid to fail. You can't start anything expecting or being afraid of failure, because if that's what happens, then you'll never start. And once I was just like, you know what, screw it, let's do it. That's when I went, all right, what am I excited about? Which one do I think I could really just start moving on? And it was Jesop King for sure. And then when I went back and decided, okay, well, the style of writing that I'm going to do is very like cartoon Saturday morning style storytelling, meaning like a moral perhaps, and some cheeky, like these are all like cartoon style characters, right? There's nothing that's high drama like you saw in some of the other things. Just felt fun, and that was the number one thing. If it felt fun, and I know I'm going into it learning, what project jumps out at me? And it was this one. So I had to rewrite some stuff. Originally he was like a bounty hunter, but then I pulled that away because the way I was looking at it is pretty much everybody that makes like a sci-fi comic, the main character is a bounty hunter, so they can go on adventures and stuff. And it's a great way to just move forward. But what I was getting stuck at is like it didn't sit right for me, and it just needed more time for me to fit. Like there's a point where this comic was a whole wrestling comic too. I went down that road. That's on Patreon where I talked about all that. But yeah, I mean it's a long-winded way of getting to kind of what I was saying there with them as well. Okay, guy. Surround them with a solid dark brown rock shadow color. Yeah, I tried that too. I don't mind this. How do you guys like this one? It's more of like an orange. I don't mind it too much. Again, the reason why is because they're like grayish, right? Dark, like they've even got like this dark greenish brown um, armor color. So in the backgrounds, like if you look down here, like check this out. Their armor color is pretty much the same. So it doesn't matter what's happening. But if I change orange anyway for now, at least it's different enough for the eye to see it a little bit different, you know? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I don't mind this orange. So I'm going to have to go back to some previous pages here. Let's turn this off, because there's ground color here, right? So, and I apologize if my voice is cracking. I was at a hockey game today for my girlfriend's brother. So I got a little into it. And now it sounds, to me, I don't know how it sounds to you guys. It's like crackling from time to time, and it's like I'm hitting puberty. It's great. Okay, so yeah, okay, so that one's there, and let's go to panel 3. What's the color for the rocks? Is it this one? Okay, so it's just 2 shades here. So if I'm going there, we'll fill that with an orange. Maybe that's wrong. Let's go with this color. There we go. And we'll go with this orange here. Cool. And we'll fill that with that orange there. And where are we going? Inside here. And do we have another dark brown? We do. Okay, so let's go here. Grab that dark brown. This is a way better solution, right? Than trying to color in some other weird way. Alright, so we have that. What did I turn off? I turned off the shadow in this layer. Let's turn that back on. Where's the shadow? Did I delete it? Uh-oh. Oh, no. I know I hit a save button, and I'm super scared. Okay, let's do something here. Oh, God, here we go. Alright, let's say... Okay, you know what? This is okay. We're okay. Thank goodness for saving in multiple places. Alright, so let's look at our second hard drive. I think I had deleted a file because it asked me if I wanted to save, and I didn't change anything. So I just said okay instead of hitting cancel for some stupid reason. Okay, Jesop King, webcomic, colors. What page is this? 18. Okay. So what we'll do is panel 1. There we go. Okay. Take that, copy, and paste. There we go. Whew. Hey, Jesop. Okay, sorry guys. Crisis averted. So I got that. Let's put our color balance on there and put on our little fun thing. Save that up. See you later, buddy. What's my best Canadian insult? I have no idea. I know that's the worst answer you've ever heard. I apologize for that. Page 18, yes. And let's open up page 17. Gotta go back to everything. Your 10 ply, but oh God. Okay. Now we're all caught up. So let me just change all this here. Actually, let's open up page 20 because I got to change the rock color to that too. Is that right? All right. That's okay. That affects that big time. All right, let's change this background color. Yeah, that's better. Um, John, I understand you trying to add slight contrast will take away from your vision. What's that, Troy? Sorry, buddy, I don't follow what you're saying there. I'm sure my rambling got me in trouble there. All right, so we can do layer, multiply, shadow. Okay. Oh, yep, yeah, you got it. You got it, Troy. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. Because the thing is, I found if I had a couple tests. I keep forgetting how much because we stream so much. I forget how much I stream with you guys with this stuff. But I do remember we did a test because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this comic in black and white with like a gray tone or if it was color. And if it was color, well, what's the color look like? You can't just say I want to make a color comic. There's so many different versions of coloring, you know. And the one coloring I tried doing was it was similar to this. I enjoy working this way, but it also had like a layer of highlights on there. And the highlights, it's not that they're hard; they're not really that difficult. It started looking a little bit like this. Here, let me show you guys. Art, was it prints? It was the Mega Man print. If you guys remember that, here I'll show you. Mega Man. Sure, let's try this. I don't know if this is it or not. Just kill my computer. Alright, so if you guys remember this Mega Man print we did, let me turn off all the fancy stuff. Where is the shadow layer? Or wait, is there a highlight? Oh, there's that. I just want to turn off some layers just so you guys can kind of see. Oh, okay, no, so this won't help anything. So let me just turn everything back on here. So this here is how Jesop King would look. Like you can see, I right here, right? Like this is perfect. This is the cell shading, and then I just use the smooth watercolor to like blur some areas to make it look like it's airbrush, right? But you see this right here, like on Bomberman's left hand, that all this, it's like a purplish color. Let me see if there's like all under here, underneath the characters on the one side. He's got it on the top. Let's take a look at Mega Man. You see all on this side. It's not that it's not hard to do that. It's just an extra step, and it looks like I like it. I think it looks great. It's like that's the next step to make it look real polished. Besides adding like like check this out. Like we'll make a new layer. We'll put it to like screen or something. And let's say I wanted I don't know. I don't know. We'll do like a purplish or no, it's lightning, right? So electricity. Maybe we'll go a little hot with it. We'll go here, right? And you start to add like this glow on stuff, right? Like you see that? Now he's getting like this big energy here to make this lightning look really, right? But you start adding that in a lot of places. And this is the stuff I think is like the next step when you want something to look like extra polish. You just start adding a lot of that there. Maybe overlay would look better. Not just, yeah, screen's ready to go. Or maybe add glow. Oh, now we're getting real hot. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like an extra step. It's great. It looks awesome. It looks more finished for sure. The only difference, or the reason why, the main reason why, is because I know how long and how much time I have to put to the project. And if I start doing stuff like that, I'm gonna get lost, and I'm gonna be out in the tumblewoods trying to figure out reflective lighting, and it's more issues that come along the lines like because if you don't do it right, people can if let's say you do it right once, people can look at it and go cool. If you do it wrong, they'll be able to see that mistake much easier, and you'll get called out on it, and you'll get called out on it, so you have to go back and fix it. And I don't want to do that. I just want to start making pages and stuff. So I had to make the decision. Yeah, I like how that other stuff looks. It looks really cool. It's got a lot of special effects and it looks polished. But I don't have the time. And like coloring's fun. I'm enjoying doing this, but I'm adding the coloring myself anyway for this because I think it fits the vibe of the comic better as opposed to the gray or the black and white that I wanted to do. Again, because I feel like this is more of a I'm trying to think of it on the lines of like cartoon esque, like a Saturday morning cartoon style story, right? So that's all, and that's the crazy part. And I think I don't know how many people think about this, and if you don't, awesome. If you're able to make comics and projects and not have to worry about all this stuff, I envy you. But for me, I always have to remember how I was saying before, trying to decide what project to move on. Well, this was one of the main things that I kept fighting was like, well, how much production do I put into this stuff? What's that polish that I'm okay doing and that I want to keep doing? And I always want to make really cool looking artwork as best I can. But when time is a consideration, I had to start choosing. Well, like what can I get rid of? That's all. And I'm not saying people that you or anybody else that wants a certain look or anything not to do those things for sure. I just know all the fear mongering that I hear from people making web comics of like, well, they ran out of their buffer or anything. I want to take as many of those variables out as I can because the last thing I want to do, and I'm sure it'll happen because apparently it happens to like more than 50% of web comics where there's a hiatus or something happens, you run out of your buffer, life gets in the way, right? I know it's going to happen, and I don't want to personally, the idea of playing catch up just to make sure that I'm back on track with doing all that coloring extra work, like that extra work that's there, it gets me scared. So I'm just chickening out and saying, nah, I'll just do it this way. Super heroic, man. The pros and cons of being an independent. Exactly, man. Exactly. And you know, if you're the person doing everything, okay, let me just put it this way. I don't think there's an honor or anything in doing a book all by yourself. I think it's super cool being able to do that, but I don't think there's an honor in it. So if you choose to do something all by yourself, if you don't want to save money or budget money to have somebody color your comic, let's say, right? Then there's something there that you know you can't do, or you can't do as best as you could. So honestly, if I wanted to have somebody color this or something, like in a nice coloring job, I could start saving up money or budgeting that into my account, and that would be that. And I wouldn't have to worry about it, and it would get done. And that's definitely something to think of too. But just addressing what you're saying there about like independence, or choosing to do something all on your own, it's I think it's definitely smart to weigh those pros and those cons, like you're saying, right? It's a choice, and every single choice. There's no right and wrong choices. It's all perspective. Because like you could do your comic, I could do this. People could put it out there and be like, "Man, I wish he had highlights or rim lights, or the coloring sucks." You know, can't appeal to everybody. So you may as well appeal to what you like the most and what you can continually crank out. I think those are super important. Push yourself, but don't bite off so much that you just can't chew anymore. You're just choking on your own project. That's scary. I've worked on enough people's projects where it's like, you know, the stress or the I've always got to be working mentality. I'm just done with that for now. So I don't want to add that back into my own work. John, is there any key for designing thumbnails? I'm having a bit of trouble with mine. Hmm. Well, I've always said that thumbnails are the hardest part of making comic books because that's where all the heavy lifting goes. Struggling to draw a face in a certain perspective, that's all, like, you can learn how to draw that, or look at reference to figure out that face that you might want to use, or that's the best face. But the thumbnail is like your storytelling, your pacing, how many panels to use, is it an upshot, downshot, all those things, right? So just go in knowing that it's the hardest part of the project. For me, I'm trying to ask you to try to do this as well, because I do hear people, here's one thing. People will send me art to critique and stuff, which is great. And a lot of the issues, it's like it's not even art fundamentals. Like, okay, well, your perspective's whack, or you need to learn how to draw figures better, stuff like that. That's all subjective to who you show it to, and over time, as long as you're still drawing, you'll improve in those areas. Those are fundamentals. Storytelling is something that's unique to everybody, and everybody's got a way of telling a story, and you have to find your own voice in that, but you still have to spend time trying to learn it, like some rules that sort of work with things. And So I would recommend, a lot of people have success looking at like cinematography books for movies because the shots that they're choosing are pretty much the same as what you do in comics. Just with comics, you get a little bit more dramatic with things sometimes, right? Like a weird tilt on an angle or something that just shows like a different emotion, a little different. So other than that, I would recommend really try to see if you can narrow down what's the word, a composition. A great example is a book called, you can look at it right now, I think on Amazon you can flip through the book too, Framed Ink, if you haven't heard of it. And it's really just focusing on composition and eye flow. You always want to worry about like moving your viewer's eye around. And if you can't, and this is why I always tell people to do thumbnails, whether it's for a comic book or an illustration, you know, like a gesture drawing or something. A lot of people, they just jump right in and they go, here's a head, here's a body, and like things just don't work that way because you haven't taken the time to figure out like, why are you doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? So just taking that time to figure that out will help you out big time. So to actually help you out, uh, check out some of those books that I just said. Do a Google search. Watch some videos on composition. You might be looking at concept art or painting videos and stuff, but composition is huge and directly referring to like eye flow. And if you're doing like American style comics, it's top left to the bottom right to get them to flip the page, right? So here, let me show an example. I don't even know if I even did it really that well here, but so here we have this look here of this guy at the top left, and he's looking down at these dudes. I try to make it straight on so that it's flat going across. In this one, there's like the straight line that this guy's making, which hopefully brings you back down here. And then it gets busy with all these dudes, right? So it's all this empty space, like negative space with busyness, but they're moving to the left, so it gives you that feeling that like it's against the flow of your eye. We read left to right, so when you look here, hopefully you go like, well, that feels odd. And the fact that they're moving right might bring your eye a little bit back to this, so the same kind of panel as the first one, but we got like the shape of this slug thing kind of going over, and you can see everything's looking down, but their movement is moving off the page, like they're literally moving this guy off the page. So, and to be fair, these a lot of the shots here, like panel 1, 2, every shot except the third one, they're boring, straight, flat shots. And the only reason I did that personally was I wanted the storytelling to be clear because I know there's a lot going on here, and without having the dialogue tell you specifically what's going on, I'm hoping that just the boring, flat, less confusion as possible, just because it's a clear symbolism of what's happening. That's why I decided to do that. But I mean, this is a huge topic that can go into like a lot of stuff, bro. Composition's huge. Framed ink, I say, is definitely worth a buy. If not, go rent it at your library or something. Go check it on Amazon, see what's going on over there with it. Lots of really cool stuff in there. It took me multiple reads for Framed Ink to sink in, by the way. So you might not get it the first your first read through, but just stick with it. Hey Matador, welcome back, my man. I can't wait to sleep tonight. Be awesome. All right, let's get these rocks going. All right, let's get down onto here. And let me know if what I just said didn't make any sense to you either. Maybe I can try to help you a little bit more. I wonder if I can just, let me try something here. wipe that panel. Oh man, okay. The fatigue is kicking in big time. What time is it too? It's like 8 o'clock. Good. I want to watch some Terminator tonight too, man. It's gonna be sweet. I'm actually trying to rush through this, just so I can sit on the couch with a cat or two. How sad is that? That's my nightcap. It's not sad. I'm actually pretty excited. I'm gonna hammer through this. Know that I got all my work done. All the comic pages are done. Chores are finished. Watch some freaking Terminator. That's what I want to do. So let's envision that. Let's just move through this. Hey Chad, how's it going, man? Jonathan started watching Sketchcraft this week from a recommendation from. Ah, awesome. I hope you dig his content. He's a really cool guy. I think he can come across as I called him passionate because he can come across as maybe angry or something like that. I think he's just had a string of maybe regrets with art. I don't know. I don't know the full story with what he's with him and stuff. But from what I do know, and at least the vibe I get from him, a lot of it is it's positive. You know, like there's a lot you can learn on there. So yeah, definitely. I think everybody here, if you go check his stuff out. If you like my stuff, you might dig his stuff. I know we kind of talk about different things for sure, but there is a lot of rollover, and I think it's you guys might get something out of there. Regardless, let's assume, and I mean this is the same for anything. Like Draw with Jazza, I know we talked about before too. Um, I don't particularly like his channel. Nothing to do with him. I don't know him or anything, but that's just because of the content that he provides. For me, outside of reviews and things, I don't get much out of. But I know lots of people love him and love his stuff, which is great, right? Because we need different voices out there doing that stuff. So I think the same thing applies with, like, let's say Sketchcraft or anybody else's channel. Anybody, Proco, anybody. Ted Knox channel, all that stuff, right? Is everybody's got a different opinion on things, and that's great. But you can learn a lot by checking out these channels. So I do know 100% if you're interested in learning, I wouldn't say comics necessarily, but illustration techniques and other stuff like that, check Sketchcraft's channel out. Plus, he's got a lot of business talk too, like experience that he's had with things, so it's always interesting to have in the background. And he cranks out a shitload of content, so you won't be waiting months in between or weeks between videos. You'll always get like long streams, short streams, all kinds of stuff. Passionate. All right, here, actually, I'll throw a question at you guys, too. Talking about Terminator, of course. Do you guys prefer Terminator 1 or Terminator 2? I know Terminator 1's kind of like an action horror movie, and Terminator 2's just a action movie. I think I remember watching something, it was like a documentary or something with James Cameron, and he was saying Terminator 1 was a horror movie. He wanted to make a horror movie. That's what that was. Same with Alien. I think Ridley Scott said that too. It was like Alien was a horror movie, and then both of these guys with their sequels, they wanted to see if they could take the same franchise, the same formula, the kind of like the same movie, but make it action. It's interesting. Interesting. I'll be right back. Just give me a second, guys. Like 5 minutes or 2 minutes, I should say. So I close my back door. Left it open for the cats, and I know nobody's looking outside. I'll be right back. Aliens. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think a lot of people probably prefer Terminator 2. I love Terminator 2. To me, what I like about Terminator 1 is it feels more 80s. You know, just the way they talk and the acting and all that stuff. There's a charm to it. Uh, Terminator 2, I think overall is a better movie. Well, I'm with you guys not 100%. But first Terminator, I don't know. There's something about it that's different. What is saying there? I mentioned it before, but I don't think you saw it. I recommend giving The Reward a watch. It's really nice animation. Pretty sure. I think The Reward. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Never heard of it. Is it an anime? Is it? Sean is all about T2. A rap. I think I'm alone on the Terminator 1 boat. Damn. Well, shucks, guys. Thought we were all bros. Normally, Ben, no problem. I would. 100% I would. Unfortunately, tonight I can't. I've got to really hunker down and finish these pages here. Sorry, I do appreciate you offering a kick-ass thing to watch, even though it's short. Like I said, normally it wouldn't even be a question. Because really, what's the driving thing right now that I need to really bust ass on is, again, I don't want to miss. The comic's not even out yet, right? So theoretically, there's no real pressure. But for me, I know, like if I was pretending that this was already out, this would be the first time I wouldn't be able to do 4 pages in 14 days, and I don't want to be that guy just yet. I don't want to be that guy ever, but I know it's gonna happen. But especially not now. I don't know about you guys. This is probably maybe more like a self control thing. I guess I think my girlfriend was joking about this the other night, and it's like I have no self control. So it's like if I if I'm like, oh well, you know, I've missed the deadline before. That means the next time it's easier to miss a deadline. You guys like that at all? Such a stupid way of thinking. Doesn't do anything for you at all. It just gets you in more shit. That's what it was. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Ridley Scott did the first one, and James Cameron did the second one. Okay. And I think most people prefer Aliens over Alien, right? Generally, It's like those are the two movies that I can remember where like it's like the sequels have more of a fan base than the originals. I like Alien. I think Alien's awesome. A little slow, but it's a horror movie, right? Most horror movies they start off a little slow. Aliens is definitely way more action. I remember getting the toys and stuff for Aliens. That was awesome. So this new movie that's coming out, this new Alien movie, when does it take place? I know what was it? Alien was it Covenant? That's the new one coming out, right? What was Prometheus? That was like the beginning of all of this stuff. That was like the very beginning, right? So this new movie, does it take place before Alien, or is it an in between movie? How does this work? It was totally different from Terminator and Alien, but dude, okay, don't get me started on RoboCop. RoboCop is one of the sickest concept designs. Oh my god, it's the best. One sec. I put it right up there with like Lord Zed from Power Rangers is one of the best concept designs. Like Lord Zed from Power Rangers to me feels like something that should have been in some weird action horror sci-fi film from the 80s. Like, okay, check out RoboCop here. I know everybody knows what RoboCop looks like, but no, we got to get Eddie Murphy, not the other guy. Murphy's the best. So good. Oh, these are all the toys. The toys look sick. Man, like Ed 209. Oh my god. All right, let's just look at this one, right? Like, just so you guys can see, right? You guys all know RoboCop, but look at this design. Where is it? Look how cool that is. Like, I'm sorry. Oh Jesus, that's huge. Oh my god, that's that is huge. Look at like how awesome that is. It's so clean. It's so simple. I haven't seen the new movie. I don't really have a reason to watch it, but like, fuck, that's such a cool design, man. You know it's the 80s when everybody's got like the Cyclops banner, you know? But you get that, and then let's take a look at Lord Zed. Boom, 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 boom. When you've just got exposed muscle, like how sick is that? I actually like the way he looked in the movie, the Power Ranger movie. Do you have an image of that? Like, look how sick this is. It's straight, like this is 100% testosterone in male design. Muscle, it looks like nitro energy through tubes in them, and chrome. Look, like let's just be objective for a second. Look how sick this is. Like, does anybody look at this and think it's campy as hell? For me, I don't. I don't know. I think it's awesome. Like even like a kind of anime version, like that is just that's fire, man. Look at, it's so good. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone on that. Lord Zed and like I mean Terminator is great. Terminator's just a skeleton, the first skeleton that's just all metal that I know of anyway. I could be wrong, but it was just amazing. Covenant is the sequel to Prometheus, Second Chronos. Okay, okay, interesting. It takes place 10 years after Prometheus. Okay. Lord Zed looks like Kerrigan from StarCraft, man from huge alien. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, imagine, like, how is Lord Zed in the 90s, right, when that show was around? Like, how is that okay from the censor's point of view? It censors so many things, right? And here's a guy that's like, he has no flesh, and it's a kid show. Let's run it. I remember seeing him for the first time, because, we're getting a little nostalgia trip here. So Rita Repulsa was the main bad for a while, right? And then Lord Zed shows up, and I remember coming home from school going, okay, this is the new episode, right? And they would show the previews where it's like, oh, her master shows up or whatever. And I was like, yes, yeah, let's see it. Guy's name's Lord Zed. Don't know what the hell that means. You see him, and it was like, this guy is the shit. Look at this. He didn't care, man. I just love it. I remember what was one of his first lines. He comes back and he's like, "You've squandered all this time. You've done nothing." When he's like chewing out Rita, you call yourself, what was it, a sorceress, an evil sorceress or something, and you can't even take out teenagers. And then they made him like a scrub by the end. He sucked. But when he first showed up, he was awesome. He was all business. Have you seen Vampire Hunter D? No, I have not. I wonder if Lord Zed will be in the new Power Rangers movie. So I've heard some rumors going around. I have no interest myself in the new Power Rangers movie, but if it gets people into Power Rangers, that's cool. Whatever. I grew up with Power Rangers, so I'm fine. I don't need any more. It's more of the nostalgia stuff where it'd be like, hey, this would be sweet to see. But other than that, like I had a childhood with Power Rangers. I love it. I thought it was amazing. I don't need any more. If they made something that was more for me, then that'd be cool too. But anyway, and it could turn out being awesome. The trailers didn't do anything for me personally. Um, but so some rumors going around is like Lord Zed either is in the movie or he's at least talked about. I don't know if it's true. That's just like some rumor videos I was watching. People were talking about something to do with Rita. This is the rumor going around anyway. I don't know if you guys saw this. So Rita. Okay, so Zordon was the original Red Ranger way back millennia ago on Earth. That was protecting the Zeo crystals, which I guess they're, for whatever reason, and they're not the power coins anymore, but the Zeo crystals are what give the Power Rangers their alien powers or whatever, right? And they crash on Earth. But Zordon was the original Red Ranger, and Rita was the Green Ranger. But she like defected or just became like a rogue kind of thing. That's why she looks all evil. And the staff that she has was given to her by Lord Zed when she decided to work for him. So they used Goldar. Goldar is supposed to be like this evil force. That's what they used to go and get the Zeo crystals from Zordon. But whatever happened, Zordon and whatever defeat him, and he's scattered. So what Rita has to do is find enough gold to summon his essence back, so that he can come back and try to get the Zeo crystals. Now, what I'm saying is that's all rumor, right? Some of it sounds really lame, but whatever. So again, I'm not interested in seeing it, but I'll still watch like some reviews and some trailers of what people are saying, because no matter what, everybody's gonna want the Green Ranger. Everybody loves the Green Ranger. If you grew up with Power Rangers, I'm a Red Ranger fan, but the Green Ranger's obviously got that huge fan base. If the guy that played Tommy, was it Jason David Frank? If he shows up in like the sequel as a Green Ranger, that'd be kind of cool. The coins turn into crystals used to run the Zords, and I remember that. They'd get the crystal, turn it sideways, and they'd move their hand across, and it'd turn it like a joystick thing. Pretty cool. Have you thought about specking in some 80s references in Jesop King? People love to do it. I don't know. I'm not sure. Because you guys have all seen the trailers by now, right? So like Rita in that movie, she's got the green power coin, obviously. That's why she looks the way she does, right? She looks like a Power Ranger kind of. Like the outfit still looks like the Rangers do. She got the power coin, all that crap. But there's two versions, right? Like when you see the movie, and that's where it gets a little weird. When you see one trailer, or they might show it in some, like in some of the second trailer, where you see her before and she's kind of wearing like the raggedy clothes, and then she gets like the green armor around her. So it's, whatever. Play around with the mythology, do whatever. If it makes them some money with some Power Ranger stuff, cool. God bless. You know? People can make money off of a creative project. Go ahead. And that's something I had to sort of give up myself for like the Ninja Turtles thing, and even Transformers. I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but going back and watching some of it, I like its purity. Like it's that old school He-Man kind of feel. At least that's what I got from it. And when for my Ninja Turtle stuff, it was always the cartoon. It wasn't the gritty comic. And when the movie came out, like the original one back in the what was it, the 80s or the 90s, it was darker than the cartoon, but I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And then the new movies came out, and I didn't mind the first one, but there was enough about it that it was kind of like, there's that thing people say Michael Bay and all that crap, and whatever. I don't care about that. It was a pretty good movie. I didn't mind it. And the sequel though to like Turtles, I didn't see just because honestly, and whatever. But this was the one line that I think Darren told me about, and it made me not want to watch it at all. Which was like Bebop and Rocksteady finally in a movie, and it was either Bebop or Rocksteady, and they looked down their pants and they said something along the lines that basically like, "Oh, it looks like everything's in proportion now," like this is great, and it was that kind of humor that made me go, "All right, I'm out." That's not for me. I grew up with Turtles. If I ever need to watch Turtles again, I can go back and watch that stuff. Um, I don't need to. This isn't for me. This is for a new audience of people. And that's not to say people that like Turtles aren't going to like those movies, but that's where I kind of look at with like all these reboot kind of things. I don't get mad at it anymore. It's just here it is. If it's there, if you want to watch it, you can watch it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. And you hear people have comments of like, well, they're just milking franchises and stuff. And hey, we'd all be so lucky to be able to have a project that people would end up milking for money. It destroys, I guess, kind of like why it started. But if somebody was going to take your project, and this is different for everybody, but if somebody's going to take your project, turn it into a movie, and you could make some serious cash on it, and you could quit your day job from something like that, would you do it? Is there a right or wrong answer to that? I don't know. Because I know we all have more than one idea in this. So, I don't know. I just kind of look at it that way. I don't really question creative people anymore. Just the fact that people are still making stuff is good. I think it would be nice if people started making quality, for sure, but quality is subjective. What I like doesn't mean what other people are going to like. Sorry, oh man, I just remembered the Magna Defender. He's my favorite one of Power Rangers. He looked like such a badass sword. Magna Defender, who's that? I only watched Power Rangers up to, I think, the third or fourth season. That's when I stopped. Dinosaurs were sweet. Once the dinosaurs went away, and then they got into, what was it, the Alien Rangers? I actually went back and watched the Japanese version, and I actually think the Japanese version is better than the American one. So much darker. It's cool. Eastman and Laird. Hey V, how's it going? Are loaded off the Turtles, and they had a big part of making them campy. Well, they started making money right when they started making the toys. Is that right? They started franchising it, basically doing the Star Wars thing, and that's what I'm saying. I don't know about you guys. You guys can all have your opinion on it for sure, and I hope you all have different ones. But like, I find it weird to me to get upset at people that if you want to call them selling out or whatever. It's so weird. I don't know. I wonder how many of our opinions, if you believe that anyway, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I just find it weird. But like, I wonder how many of us would change our opinion if you were even presented that. If somebody thought your idea was enough to sell out, to make money off of it, so that you could spend your life, or at least a few years of your life, just making some of your own stuff, would you take that? or out of like artistic integrity or something would you say no? And it's such a weird thing. I don't know. I think a lot of people are just really quick to judge with stuff like that. I know for me, I'll just use this project. I know nothing's happened yet with this. It's not even out there yet. But if this went out there and somebody's like, "Oh, this is sweet. Let's turn it into a kids show." And in my version, I've got blood, guts. I do have some mature stuff I would love to get to with the story for sure. But they're like, no, it has to be just for kids. You can't swear. There can't be anything like that. I would still feel okay with it myself. I mean, and again, whatever. I'm interested in like what you guys think too. When Japanese shows get westernized, they get considerably worse. I agree. Yep. Alpha. They made the cartoons so they could sell toys. Yep. They still kept the rights to the characters. Shot. I'm terrified of missing deadlines. The stress is unreal. It's not a good feeling. The worst too, right, is like when it's your own stuff. If you start missing your own deadlines on your own projects, Jesus. I understand missing projects for clients because most of the time clients don't want to hear it. But the reality is like you might like the project, but it's still a paycheck for the most part, if not anything else, right? So you just said yes because it's a paycheck and you don't mind it. That's the polite way of saying things, right? But deep down inside, if you could, not everybody, but I think a lot of people I talk to anyway, they would just rather do their own thing. So when you miss a deadline for somebody else, it's like you do feel like shit. That's good. That makes you a human being. It doesn't make you a total scumbag, But when you miss your deadlines on your own stuff, you don't even fight hard enough for your own personal project. That's getting into some real places there. Cash runs everything around me. I would watch Jesop animated film. It would look great in motion. Perhaps. Let me actually back this up. Let's assume this would be the one thing where I would say no, in contrast to what I was just saying about like selling out. Let's say it went like the other direction. We love the idea of this, but we want to turn it into like an adult animated thing. Like, well, what do you mean adult? And they're like, well, more violence, sex, blood, guts, that kind of stuff. We think like a mature male audience would really love this. That would be something myself where I would say no to. And maybe it's just getting into the ethics. I don't know. These conversations, they always go back and forth. There's always so many different things. It's fun. Fun to talk about. Hey, Corner, how is it going? Excuse me, sorry, you guys. You guys. Oh, you guys. Yeah, no, you guys are right. I think it's I wouldn't judge anybody that, like, let's say let's just say whatever property you're doing, that's yours, and somebody wanted to buy it and go, we want it to be more adult, more sex, violence, guns, all that stuff. I wouldn't criticize anybody that said yes to that at all. I'm just saying, I guess the ethics is it's subjective, right? It's to each of us. And the other thing too is like you don't know where you are in life when those questions, if they ever happen, to be asked for you, or to you, right? Like you don't know where you are in life. Maybe you have a kid or a family member who's they need money for a surgery or something, right? And it's like, well, this came along and I have to make an R-rated version of my thing, and I don't want to see people bouncing around doing whatever, their junk flying around, but somebody's willing to pay me serious money to make that thing a reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many other loopholes. As opposed to just say no. But at the same time, some people, and it's not wrong, are just like, no, I'm against that. I don't want to do that. Right? And I think that's where I was kind of getting at with the ethics. You can't really answer that question. Nobody can answer that question because it's gonna be different for everyone. There's no like group thought on it. At least I don't think there probably shouldn't be. Yeah, what time is it right now in Sweden? In Sweden. Sweden. What? Oh my god. What? Okay, so we got that. Let me save this up. Um, just have to add the glow. I forget what we use for this, so just give me 1 second. And then we are going to wrap this party up. Okay, turn that off. Turn those off. And panel 4, I need is it this layer? Yeah. So this is add glow, and it is green. Interesting. So we go back. Do we add anything to the eyes, or is it just the sack? Yeah, just the sacks. So just this panel. Panel 4. Add glow color. It's just like a simple rim light here just for this. And again, the reason I add this in just certain spots is just to hopefully feel a little bit not important but just different. This thing is like a mucus sac, right? So it's got a little bit more liquidy. A mucus sac. Alright, so we got that. Let's put the finishing touches on this. Um, Actually, I gotta see if the text is right. Yep, we got the text there. There's this one right here where the guy's screaming. I don't know if I'm gonna. I'll leave it for now. We'll see. But this is gotta change. It's not even pointing at his mouth. Edit, transform. Oh, you can't. nice color on there, and let's put the paper texture on, and we're done. Yeah, looks so much cooler with the that texture on there. Okay, let's save it up. Save. That took a long time. Thanks, Michael. Which one? This one here? You talking about with the monster coming up, or was it one of these ones? Oh, thank you, Proto. Well, hopefully that's not a bad thing, Proto. I hope that's that's a good thing. I hate doing that too. You look at somebody else's stuff and you're like, damn it, I want to do something like that, and then it makes you, or for me anyway, it made me doubt like, oh geez, like do I have to rechange the whole look and all that crap, anyway. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like the textured look. It looks pretty cool. If you guys want to know how it looks, I've said this before. If you go to Jesop King right now, um, I'll bring it up. You just go to jesopking.com right now. The first page is up there. This one, I mean, it works. You can see it in the darker areas, but the texture's already on there, so you can see how it looks on whatever device you're looking at. If you're looking on on the website here, if you look on your phone, Tumblr's weird on a phone. But anyway, you can kind of see how it looks. I will say, and I've said this before, if you make a page or whatever, if you guys have tablets or an iPad or anything and you look at it, it's like awesome. It looks really cool on those devices, and I'm excited to where the future's going with tablets and stuff. Because remember I told you guys, and I kept asking a lot of people, just getting feedback, and at least for me in my little small circle of people I was asking that aren't creators, that just consume stuff, that tablets, most specifically phones and tablets, are gaining massive amounts of readership because it's convenient, right? Which is great for all of us digital artists out there because our art looks amazing on tablets and stuff. So you guys can check that out. What is that huge worm-like creature? This creature right here. I'll show you right here. Let me put all the sauce on there. Let's put that and the grit. I'll turn all the sound effects and all that and the text away. So this creature here, for this page. Whoops. Let's put the special effects. Okay, I guess we need it. Anyway, so this creature here is called a Pagargo, and you can see him over here. What it is he it's basically like a in a fantasy book or anything, you want to capture people, you put them into like a prison, right? Or like a paddy truck or a paddy wagon, as some people call it. You just put in a little prison mobile thing. So originally in the script I had, they just put them into a cage and stuff. But I figured it'd be kind of a fun opportunity to like, let's just keep adding more creatures. And I call them throwaway creatures because a lot of these stories, this one's like a beefy story, this first story, but I do plan on having like just short little stories, 8 pages, 4 pages, gag strips, whatever, but like sometimes have like the adventures that they go on. But it's fun to just use it as a learning experience and just sort of like grow and build up on things anyway. So these things, it uses this horn, it summons him, calls him, and he comes out of the ground. And they basically throw them and stuff, and they keep their what's it called? They're prisoners in these little mucus sacs in there. So you'll see, I think in page 19, that's when they all pick up Jesop and they throw him in the little mucus sac and they take him away. Amazon. Oh, see, okay, so there you go. He's saying got a tablet for comics and it broke in a year. That's no good. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna say goodbye, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me just for this little super quick. Well, I guess it was 2 hours. It's not really super quick, but I'll see you guys next week. We'll be working on brand new pages and all that cool stuff. We're getting close to the launch. Again, it's March 6th. Is when the comic starts. You guys have already, you can have access to page 1 right now, so I guess it's not a big deal. But anyway, appreciate you guys' time, and enjoy your night, your day, wherever you are. I'll talk to you guys very soon, and I'll see you then. Bye bye, guys. Keep reading comics, keep making comics. I almost forgot to end with that. Okay, bye bye.